Sunday Rose Kidman is finally spilling the tea on what really went down behind those glamorous closed doors of her parents, Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman's marriage. And let me tell you, it's not the fairy tale we all thought. According to her, the house was often a mess. The household was not kept up, and she often lay in bed listening to her parents' explosive arguments. To truly get how this whole train wreck spiraled out of control, we gotta rewind the clock. Nicole first married Tom Cruise back in 1990, despite everyone around her warning it was a terrible idea. She once admitted, "My agents at the time told me not to do it. They said marriage would destroy my career, but love had her blind and she wasn't chasing fame. She dove head first into that hot, complicated situation anyway." The two adopted 2 kids, Isabella and Connor, but after 11 years together, Tom filed for divorce. Not long after, the children grew distant from Nicole and have stayed estranged for most of their adult lives. What happened between her and those babies? What kind of mommy dearest moment are we talking about here? As for Keith, before he ever met Nicole, he was dating a woman named Laura Sigler. According to the Sydney Morning Herald, Laura once said, "He's incredibly charming, and when he talks, he can be very seductive. But I'm not sure Keith will ever be ready to settle down." After her, he dated model Nikki Taylor, but that relationship also fizzled out. Keith has always been open about his battles with addiction. In an interview with The Times, he revealed that during the early years of his music career, he relied heavily on alcohol and other substances as a coping mechanism. He said, "My dad was an alcoholic, so I grew up in a home surrounded by that lifestyle. It took me a long time to realize I was wired the same way." He also mentioned that while he doesn't judge anyone for having a good time, he personally realized he couldn't handle it. "I just figured out I'm allergic to it," he joked. "Someone once asked what happens when I drink, and I said, I break out in handcuffs." He checked himself into rehab in 1998, and not long after, in 1999, he released his self-titled debut album. Even though both Keith and Nicole were raised in Australia, their paths didn't cross until 2005 at a charity gala. A mutual friend passed Nicole's number to Keith, but he didn't call her for 4 months. Nicole later told Ellen DeGeneres, "I had such a crush on him, but he didn't seem interested at all. It's true." When asked why he waited so long, Keith admitted on an Australian talk show that he thought Nicole was completely out of his league. "I could imagine big things for my life," he said, "but never did I think a woman like her would ever be interested in me." He was also struggling with his sobriety then, and didn't even know how to start a simple conversation. When he finally worked up the courage to call her, sparks flew instantly. "We started talking and we just couldn't stop," he said. "It was effortless, though, let's be honest, probably more about infatuation than deep conversation at first. Still, Keith said he knew immediately Nicole was the one." On the Armchair Expert podcast, he called her the person he'd been searching for all his life. Just 6 months after they started dating, Nicole was already sure she wanted to marry him. She told People magazine that on her 38th birthday, Keith stood outside her New York City apartment at 5 a.m. holding a bouquet of flowers. "That's when I thought, this is the man I want to marry," she said. They got engaged and tied the knot in June 2006, barely a year after meeting. Hollywood couples don't waste any time. After the wedding, Nicole revealed that she burned all her old diaries because they contained too many bad things. So basically, she erased her past. And let's be real, that sounds spicy. She explained that before marrying Keith, her life had been all about exploring different kinds of love, from obsession and strange desires to the quiet routine of monogamy. When describing her relationship with Keith, she said, "We're deeply connected. It's a thrilling, raw, and dangerous kind of love, like being out at sea together." But just 4 months after saying "I do," Nicole organized an intervention and sent Keith back to rehab. Lord have mercy. He spent 3 months at the Betty Ford Clinic, later admitting, "I had no idea what would happen to us." Nicole pushed through all the negativity, probably even her own doubts, and chose love. By November 2007, they'd settled in Tennessee, buying a farm outside Nashville. Their daughter, Sunday Rose, was born in July 2008, and their second daughter, Faith Margaret, arrived in December 2010 via surrogate. In September 2014, Tragedy struck when Nicole's father died unexpectedly after a fall. Keith rushed to her side and even performed Amazing Grace at the funeral. From that point on, their marriage seemed to grow stronger. Keith wrote the hit song The Fighter for Nicole, featuring Carrie Underwood, and credited her with helping him stay sober. During a South by Southwest panel, he said, "I was lucky to have a loving wife. Getting sober freed me creatively, but that's not all." Apparently, Nicole had Keith completely captivated. In his song Gemini, all about his wife, he sang, "She's a maniac in the bed, but a brainiac in her head. Okay, Keith, we see you. Nicole girl, do your thing." Fast forward to January 2025, Nicole told W Magazine that the secret to their long marriage was separate bathrooms and a double-headed shower. Then, in June 2025, she shared a sweet anniversary post on Instagram celebrating 19 years together. But just days later, when Keith was asked about his wife in an Australian radio interview, he didn't seem eager to talk. The host asked, "How do you feel seeing your beautiful wife acting opposite handsome younger men like Zac Efron in romantic scenes?" And suddenly, Keith disconnected from the Zoom call. Awkward. 3 months later, on September 29, 2025, sources confirmed the couple had separated, and reports claimed Nicole was trying to save the marriage. Poor thing. First Tom left her, now Keith. TMZ reported that Nicole and Keith had been living apart since early summer. Nicole stayed in Nashville with their daughters, while Keith had moved into a bachelor pad. The very next day after their split was confirmed, Nicole filed for divorce. An insider told People magazine, "Nicole is heartbroken and feels completely betrayed. She's devastated and in shock. Girl, how are you shocked when you're the one who filed?" Then came the real bombshell on October 2nd, 2025. Social media detectives uncovered a video from September 27th showing Keith performing on stage with 25-year-old country singer Maggie Bow. They were singing The Fighter, the very song he had written for Nicole. But instead of the original lyric, "When they're trying to get to you, baby, I'll be the fighter," Keith changed it to, "When they're trying to get to you, Maggie, I'll be your guitar player." Oh, absolutely not. Somebody needs to snatch that man off the stage immediately. And to make it worse, guess who posted the clip online? Maggie herself. Girl, both of them deserve a good talking to. All signs were pointing to Keith swapping Nicole's seasoned passion for some brand new temptation. Though, to be fair, this hasn't been officially confirmed. According to Star Magazine, the relationship had been falling apart long before the official divorce filing. The couple had been spending less and less time together, which naturally caused a major loss of intimacy. But that's not where the story ends. Hollywood insider Rob Shooter spilled that Keith had been romantically involved with not one, but 2 women outside the marriage. Honestly, this marriage was bound to collapse from the start. Nicole had just escaped that complicated mess with Tom Cruise before getting tangled up with Keith and all his inner demons. She thought she could love the addiction right out of him. Bless her heart. But over time, the caregiver grows tired, the patient gets resentful, and the romance fades into dust. Between his battles with sobriety, his insecurities, and now these rumored affairs, it's no surprise that things ended the way they did. Nicole and Keith were like a ticking time bomb wrapped in a Hallmark movie fantasy. Beautiful from the outside, but destined to explode. When did Nicole realize she should have left? From day one, it was all doomed to unravel. She endured public heartbreak and private struggles, yet she continues to carry herself with grace and quiet strength, the kind most people can only dream of. Love hasn't always treated her kindly, but it's never dimmed her light. So here's to Nicole, for surviving heartbreak not once, but twice, for staying strong when the world watched her fall, and for proving that even when love breaks you down, you can still rise with dignity and fire in your soul. Let's hope that next time she moves a little slower, guards her peace, and finds a love that's safe, steady, and truly deserving of her.